What's up, YouTube? Legend Master here with a new video against House of Wolves this time. Anyway, he had a fairly bulky team in Mantine, Hippopotamus, and Misdreavus, I thought. Although it looks like his biggest threats are going to be the Leopard and Sawsbuck. I'm really not sure what Watchhog's going to do. I figured it was going to be a Super Fang set just to kind of wear down my bulky attackers like Kong, my Slow King. So anyway, that's kind of what I was thinking, but we'll just have to see what exactly goes down in this match. Anyway, I decided to lead with Luxray because it's fast, hits pretty hard. A fairly obvious lead, but I really don't want to take on a Hippopotamus with him, and so I'm going to go into Misdreavus, figuring it'd be best to get some residual on. I'm not sure if an Ice Beam would take it out cleanly. I know it will do a considerable chunk of damage, but I don't really want to risk not taking him out in one hit because then I'd be locked into Ice Beam and he could go into something bulky enough to take it no problem. Anyway, not exactly the best play on my part, but now I can just go ahead and fire off a Draco Meteor. Nothing on his team, including Hippopotamus, would enjoy taking one. Even with the Violet giving it some considerable bulk, it still wouldn't take it well. But anyway, he goes into Mantine, and this Draco Meteor is a Modest Nature Specs Draco Meteor. It doesn't even do half, but Mantine has like immense special bulk, so that's still considerable considering what I hit him. Considering that I hit him with that. Anyway, I figure Misdreavus is again probably the best thing to go into because Mantine usually runs a special move pool if he is an attacker. Obviously he's not because he took that as well as he did, but he comes into Sawsbuck, and I'm not really afraid of this thing, but I also know that there's not a lot I can do either. But anyway, he pulls out the sub the first turn, which really kind of surprised me on the switch, so I don't get my Will-O-Wisp off, and now he's going to go for agility, and I make a key misplay here. It's a misclick, and it slows down my progress a little bit. I mean, not that Thunderbolt would have done much more damage, but at least it would have helped break the sub a little bit, which could have been really useful. And anyway, he's going to Baton Pass out and go into his own Misdreavus. Now, I was kind of questioning the play because at the time I wasn't thinking that it'd be like a spec set, but anyway, I'm just going to smash with a Thunderbolt as he switches out to his Misdreavus, and it takes it because Misdreavus is incredibly bulky, even if it's a specs attacker or something. Anyway, I'm going to go into Luxray knowing he's probably not going to go for the Shadow Ball, knowing that I've still got Slow King around and I can completely shut the Shadow Ball down, but that Thunderbolt does a rather decent amount. And so I'm kind of given an indication that it is specs damage because that's hitting incredibly hard. But anyway, I'm going to go for the Crunch just to break the sub and threaten to just go to town with Crunch on his Misdreavus. Now, he probably doesn't want to stay in considering Thunderbolt's really not doing that much, but I don't really want to overpredict. Crunch will do good damage against most of his team except Hippopotamus, which means that was a very good switch on his part, and so he's actually about halfway down. But this is a good opportunity for me to switch into Alamamola, and this speed is just incredibly hard to keep up with. So he's going to go ahead and get back up to full. I don't really care because a Specs Ice Beam would easily destroy it. Hippopotamus really is not a threat to me. I mean, the biggest things it can do is Whirlwind and Earthquake, and it's burned, so it really is useless, except for the Whirlwinding and kind of taking hits. So I'm really not threatened at all by it, and this is a good opportunity for me to wish and pass to Luxray. I decided Luxray over Altaria because Altaria is fairly slow compared to some Pokemon, especially Sawsbuck, and I don't want Altaria taking more damage than it has to. And so if I go into Luxray, I can threaten, well, actually I can just go for the superpower and just completely destroy this guy because he is also normal type instead of just grass. So that'd be a super effective hit, destroy him, but he actually Baton Passes on the switch, Very good play because it gives him a little bit more opening. And he goes into Hippopotamus again. I'm back up to full though, so I didn't really lose anything. I'm back up, and my team's looking pretty good. At this point, I'm not really afraid of the team, which is definitely something you don't want to be doing. You never want to underestimate a team, especially when there's still all the Pokemon left. But anyway, I saw the Earthquake coming, and so I'm just going to switch. I don't want Luxray to die. Luxray could be a complete wall breaker or whatever, but I go for the Willow, figuring he may switch, but he doesn't. He goes for a Slack Off, which is a good play on his part. But now I know he's not going to want to stay in, or he's going to Whirlwind. Either way, if he Whirlwinds me, whatever. But if he goes and changes out for, say, Sawsbuck, it'd be really nice to get that burn off. So I'm going to go ahead and fire off another Will-O-Wisp here. And this made me kind of smile and go, yes, I've pretty much ruined his entire team's potential. I completely wrote Watchog off as pointless. So that was a really dumb move of me. But so that could really come to be a problem for me. But I'm going to have to switch because I really don't want to go through the shenanigans of the baton passing, agility, and subs. So he's going to go ahead and get us another sub up. And now I could just go for the Crunch. I'd go for Superpower, but that lowers my stats, and I can't afford that considering he's behind a sub. At this point, I'm not sure if a -1 Superpower can take him out, and he'll probably switch anyway. So I figured Crunch would be the better choice overall, and get a crit. Don't think that mattered at all. This is an adamant Scarfer anyway. And he goes for the Horned Leech just to see what I lock myself into. Good play on his part. Gets him a little bit of health back. But unfortunately, because of that burn, the attack isn't going to do a lot. And I've still got most of my health. So anyway, burn's starting to rack up on him, and he's not appreciating that one little bit. But he goes into Leopard. Now, this could have really turned out to be a big problem because it's an unburdened set instead of a prankster set. And I was not expecting that. And I didn't really realize it until later because he didn't get a real opportunity to use anything besides priority, what would have been priority anyway. Anyway, drags me out into Altaria, and he's going to go for a sub. And I thought, well, of course he's going to outspeed me, he's prankster. But I'm going to just fire off an Ice Beam, and I'm kind of hoping he doesn't go for like Swagger or something because I really wouldn't appreciate that right now. Anyway, he goes for the Sucker Punch, and I knew Leopard could have that. I just didn't expect it because most Leopard like to be the troll set with like Swagger or Taunt and just annoying things. But anyway, that drops me down to a really low amount of HP. Thankfully, Altaria has the bulk it does, and I'm just going to go ahead and fire off another Ice Beam. It's a neutral hit, and it does a nice little chunklet. But Mantine's able to take out my Altaria, no problem whatsoever. Go figure. Anyway, Mantine's a big threat, and I figure Kong, my Slaking, perfect switch in, unless he's got Protect. And this would be a really good time to find out if he does or not. And he pulls out the Protect. I know Slaking's not going to be that useful until Mantine's dead now, unless I can bring it in on something else. Fire off the Retaliate and start going to town like that, just to do some heavy damage to whatever. But this means I have to switch. I don't really want to stay in and, well, basically lose Slaking for nothing. So I'm going to go to Misdreavus, knowing there's really nothing Mantine can do that would really upset Misdreavus. I mean, Toxic would kind of stink, but pulls out Confuse Ray. Misdreavus really doesn't care. It has terrible attacking anyway, and a much better bulk than its attacking stat. So even if I get hit in Confusion a couple times, it's not a big deal whatsoever. So he actually goes into his own Misdreavus, and I break through the Confusion the first turn. Excellent. Fire off the Will-O-Wisp because I figured he would, if he stayed in, it'd be nice to get the residual going just to make it a lot harder for him to survive. And if he went into something else like Watchog, which I really didn't expect Watchog because who does? It would burn him and make him useless too. So anyway, I break through the Confusion again, which is amazing, and fire off my own Shadow Ball, and we nearly take each other down. Now, this is another key misplay here. I go for a Shadow Ball knowing he's going to take me out, and then he'll probably die to residual, so we'll both lose our Ghost types. But if I had been smart, I would have gone for the Pain Split, which means I would have gotten a lot of health back and put me in a really good situation. Anyway, because of this, I have to stay in. The rocks will kill me anyway. And so my hope here is that he'll go for like an agility or baton pass out or whatever. I knew he probably wouldn't, but I was kind of hoping he'd do that so I could get a paint split off. But it doesn't happen that way, of course. And Sawsbuck takes out Misdreavus, and that I knew could be a big problem because Misdreavus is such an important member. It's one of the few Pokemon that is not choiced in some way. This team has 4 choicers, if you want to call it a team. It's just 6 things I threw together, and it works pretty well. Anyway, he's going to sacrifice his Misdreavus here to stop me from Giga Impacting or retaliating or whatever. So Misdreavus goes down, and he decides to go into Watchog on the Switch, actually. Anyway, he goes into Watchog, and I'm like, why would you do that? So I'm going to go right into Gardevoir, and he goes for the Sword Stance as I go for a Trick. So I'm going, what? Oh, the next turn I Trick. That's right. I figured there's really nothing Watchog can do, especially if he's Scarf. But then he shows me his full set after I Trick him a Scarf, and I get a Sash in return. And I'm like, what is this Watchog even doing? Oh, that's what he's doing. Oops. So now, this is really ugly. Now, I was kind of hoping I could take a hit because Kong has impressive bulk and good defenses overall. And so I figured, I don't need to use Sucker Punch, right? Haha. Yeah, I needed Sucker Punch. So, going to Luxray. It's my last Pokemon that can actually potentially take this guy out in one clean hit. No, that's not the case. And so this is looking really ugly. Now, I've still got Alamomola, which I'm pretty sure can take a hit, and then hit with a Scald, and hopefully between it and Protect, I should be able to get my health back up to enough that I can get a Wish off, Protect again, and get back up, and let the burn kill him. But the health keeps going down and down and down, and ow! Critical hit. And that probably just sped the game up, considering he still had 3 Pokemon, but Hippopotamus would have got destroyed by a Scald, and his Sawsbuck was burned, or his Mantine, I could have hit it with a Toxic and outstalled it, so potentially I could have won, but I didn't see it being a very good chance. I had to score the 30% burn chance to have a chance at winning that, and even then I may not have won just because of the sheer power behind that. I really don't know how much damage that would have done. So yeah, that was a very good game. House of Wolves 100, I believe, and I hope we can have another battle sometime. Later.